Hey there, it's Katie Jarvis with Managing the Mess. We haven't met before. I'm a K through 6 elementary art teacher, and I teach at a Title I school just outside of Washington, D.C. In this video, we're going to talk about 10 misconceptions that I had when I first started teaching elementary art. The first one is that I can distinctly remember in my first few years of teaching staying late after school and just cleaning away and thinking to myself, I'm a really good art teacher. I'm really good at this. The kids had a really fun time in art class today, not realizing for 1 second that I had dropped the ball by not teaching them how to take responsibility and clean up after themselves, by not teaching them how to properly care for the materials, to not teach them how to care for our art room and school community. Now, I have since then revamped my cleanup routine, and I'm quite happy with how it runs now. If you're looking for a new routine or some cleanup tips, make sure you check out my video, How to Avoid Cleanup Chaos in the Elementary Art Room. The second thing that I didn't realize when I first started teaching is how many lessons you need. I would get super excited about something that I saw for a holiday or a seasonal thing. I would get all of the materials ready. I would get super good at teaching it, and then I would slowly start teaching it to all of my classes. What I didn't realize I was doing was basically making it so that I couldn't do those same lessons the following school year because everyone had already done it. I think in the beginning, I was just trying to survive. I didn't give any thought to the fact that I'd be teaching art next year, and the year after that, and the year after that. I would do something like a turkey project and just sweep up any pieces that were left over and sort of throw them haphazardly into an unmarked box and shove it into the closet, and not remembering that I'm the person that's going to work in this art room next year that's probably going to want to do that same turkey project that I already figured out. And I'm going to be looking for those pieces. So things like that, I try to stop and think, like, what would my future self need to do this lesson again? And where is it worth to invest my time? So things like my lesson slides, or for me, I do project examples and objective posters. So making sure that I get that done when I find a lesson that I really, really like, so that the next year when I go to do it, it's very simple and I can just pull it out and do it without very much notice. It definitely streamlines my teaching by thinking this way from year to year. One of the things that I did not realize at the beginning was that teachers are very underpaid. I saw the amount that they were giving me in my first teaching contract in Ohio, and I thought it was a ton of money because I had no reference of what things cost in the real world. In my first few years of teaching, I was still living at home. So I was buying things that were consumable for my classroom, such as Play-Doh and paper, and not thinking anything of it. Now that I have somewhat of the value that teachers are way underpaid and how much life really costs, I don't buy consumable things typically for my classroom. If I am spending on my classroom, it's on things like decorations and containers, things that I use as teaching tools. Also, I will purchase, but those are things that will last from year to year. And I feel like those things are better investments with my money. When I first started teaching, I definitely fell victim to the cookie cutter art because that had the wow factor. It's so cute, is what other teachers would say when they saw it in the hallway, and I thought, I am doing a great job. Now I really value having my students plan out their projects and come up with their own unique solutions that they are connected and invested in. I like to give my students a lot of opportunities to practice, and I like to teach them craftsmanship, very detailed, so that when they are doing things on their own, they can feel a level of success. I like to teach techniques. So on my Teachers Pay Teachers store, I have a painting techniques chart. Before my students complete an independent painting, we would complete that techniques chart together so they have a little bit of guided practice. And that creates then a menu for them to choose. Hey, I'm trying to make an animal and I want them to look furry. Which one of these techniques would do that as well? Besides me just giving them the solution of how that is going to look. So I think that I've come a long way in how I'm executing and planning my lessons, to allow for student choice. One of my default modes is just to panic. So whenever it's leading up into a new school year and I'm hearing about a new initiative or new things that are going to get added to my plate, I tend to just freak out. Now, what I've learned over the years is it's always going to be something. I mean, it is always going to be something. And whatever they throw at you, you're going to figure it out. It's going to be okay. You're going to thrive. You're going to survive. It's going to be awesome. So one of those things that they do not prepare you for in college is the extra duties. It's just one of those things that over time, I just have learned to embrace because it's part of the gig. Now, if you have a duty that is outside, I find that those are particularly stressful because you have to be constantly monitoring what is the weather going to be doing. And if you do it in the morning and in the afternoon, that's even more times you have to peek and see what the weather is. And it can change within one school day. One tip that I have for you is just invest in some really cute gear that you like for rain and for snow and for wind and for cold so that you are comfortable and you're not miserable, completely miserable, while you're outside doing those duties. If you've got a lunchtime duty, oh my gosh, that is, I think, probably the worst one of all. I think now they have earplugs that teachers can use. You can still hear, and gosh, if I'd had them back when I had cafeteria duty, I think I would have tried those out. I know that when we had cafeteria duty, we would just sort of laugh it off. We had a situation where we could start to take kids outside for recess. So I was always volunteering that to just get away from the craziness and the noise. And as my other specialist friends and I would kind of get through it and enjoy it by sharing funny stories about what happened in the cafeteria during our duty and the silly, goofy things that the kids said and the gross food and all of it. Now I have a duty, thankfully, that's inside, kind of moving up in the world. But I don't have a lot of kids that walk past me. So I'm wishing everybody a good afternoon, but I'm able to keep a little notebook with me and I just do a quick brain dump. It's just a really good routine for me to get into so I don't feel like I'm wasting time when there's not anyone walking in the hallway while I'm doing that duty. When I first started out teaching, I was so enthusiastic and I was excited to help out at my school any way that I could. Even a few years in, I know there was one year that I found myself teaching an art club after school. And this club was only for clay. So I was firing pieces and glazing pieces just non-stop on top of teaching all day. At the same time, I signed up to be in the talent show because it sounded like so much fun. And the next thing I knew, I was also an act in the talent show. And I had created so many events on my calendar that revolved around the school that I didn't leave a lot of free time for my own endeavors. So know that you can say no, know that you can set limits on what you do at school. I don't think anyone warns you about that you are going to need a system to store all of the ideas. When I first started teaching, it was really before the internet was like a big thing. And when I was in college, we would photocopy school arts magazines and make these like file folders of lessons and like lesson ideas and things like that. So that's what I started out with. Now, as you know, there are ideas on Instagram. You can find ideas on Facebook. You can find ideas on Pinterest. Ideas are just everywhere. So there really needs to be a system of how are you keeping track of all of that? Is there one master place? For me, in my Google Drive, that's when I have my actual lessons and some lessons that I have done in the past that I may do again, but things that are like fully developed. That's in my Google Drive. I have separate folders within Facebook and within my Instagram where I'm saving ideas of things that I might want to go through and use. One spot that I've stopped using is I used to use my phone and take a lot of screenshots, but I found that over time that those things were really just getting completely clouded out with all my other pictures and videos that were inside of my phone. So hopefully you will find a system that works for you, but just know if you're first starting out, you need something because there's a lot of amazing ideas out there. I don't think I had any idea when I first started teaching how important art room management and behavior management was to my teaching. How that it would be something that I would need to work on every single day in my art room, and how it would pay off that I would be able to enjoy my job because of it. If you don't have solid routines and high expectations for your students, slowly over time, your student behavior is going to deteriorate, and it's going to make your job a lot harder. Something I didn't realize was you're not going to achieve a level of superior teaching, okay? Because management things are always changing. You're always having new challenges come at you, new students come at you, new initiatives dropped on you. So it's not something that you're just ever going to feel like you get a gold trophy in this and you're done working on this. Art room management is something that you continually need to learn and adapt and be flexible and try new things when something is not working in your art room. Now, those are the things that inspired me to create this YouTube channel. I hope that you'll take a look around and explore. I have over 80 videos now on art room management. And if you have found this video helpful up to this point, I hope that you will like and subscribe and watch this playlist next.